higher in a sky more blue.
Good morning. Welcome to Right Thinking with Steve Copeland. I'm your host, Steve Copeland, and thank you for tuning in. Let's have a great day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back, and I am just glad to be here today, and I'm sure that all of you are glad to be able to be listening because we all got up this morning and we've got our health. And speaking of our health, so you've been hearing about my dad. My dad is 93 years old, and 5 weeks ago tomorrow, he had a heart attack and was in intensive care for a couple days, and he stayed in the hospital for 6 or 7 days, and they put him into a rehab center, and then he had somewhat of a relapse with some internal bleeding and some other issues, and they had to put him back into the hospital and give him 3 days in a row of transfusions. And let me just get right to the point. My dad's coming home today, not back to the rehab center, out of the hospital, all the way home. And I want to tell you, everybody should take note of this. When you've got a will, there's a way. And my dad is just so full of energy right now because he survived a lot of stuff this past 5 weeks, and now he's going home. And big highlights for my dad, he wants to just get home and be in his own shower. He wants to be able to have his shower beat down on him and get that feeling that you can only get from your own shower. All of us, I think we can relate to that. Being in the shower is a great thing. That's when we do some of our best relaxing, some of our best thinking. Another wonderful thing today is my mother-in-law, Agnes. Happy birthday, Agnes. Today is her birthday, and I just want you to know, Agnes, that I love you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you today at lunch. And happy birthday, Agnes. Many, many more. Well, another reason that today is just good for me is that have you ever worked really, really hard at something, and it seems like you're never, ever going to get it finished? Seems like it's just not going to work out, and all that tiredness and that self-doubt sets in? Well, you know, sometimes everything you're working toward, it's already been done. It's right there in front of you, and it's not going to fall apart. It's who you are. It's meant to be. You've worked hard for it, and you've trained for it. You don't need to be afraid of success. But sometimes you just don't realize it. It's just right there. That's happening to me right now. Today is my 15th broadcast, not counting the first interview that I had when Jeff Heiser interviewed me back in November. So today is my 16th time on the air. And I've been trying to get to know everybody, trying to open up myself to you so you'll know who I am and tell you about Right Thinking Foundation and the resources that are available for you. And the purpose of this show is for me to be there for people that are going through hardship and for people that are also trying to be there for people that are going through hardship. Maybe they'll pick up a pointer or two on how to help someone they know that they care about that's going through a hardship. Well, I've been doing all these shows, and each show has kind of a different way to get to my central theme of being there for people that are going through hardship and to help people get up and, like Jeff Heiser says, take that first step. Well, today I'm going to be speaking. Today's show is called Personal Finance and Small Business Ownership is really what it is that my program that I do is all about. I try to help people have a better life by reducing stress in their life by getting on top of their finances, their money. And each week I've had little different parts about why you need to do that, why you need to take control, how to stay positive, Napoleon Hill thinking, mastermind groups, surround yourself with people that all have a common goal. It just goes on and on and on. And so today, though, I am going to start a series of shows. I called it Part 1, and I don't know how many parts it's going to be. And I'm going to mix it up with more interviews like I've been doing, trying to have people stay interested in my broadcast by hearing some wonderful guests. Last week, Dave Richards was on here for the third time, and I hope y'all are seeing something happening between me and Dave. Dave and I are just really close, and I just appreciate him so much because his heart is out there for so many things. Last Friday, we had an appointment at the Hampton Roads, YMCA of Hampton Roads, 120,000 members. That's a lot of people. And they are constantly out there trying to have, for families, social responsibility, healthy lifestyle. And so Dave, being the humanitarian that he is, he's got a lot of resources to try to help people to have a healthier life. And so I connected Dave with the YMCA last week. Now, Dave's been a member of the Y probably his whole life. That's how I met Dave. I taught his wife, Janie, karate about 20 years ago when their son Bon, and it did my heart good to see how it's all coming together. So what have I been saying the last couple of minutes here is this. I've been trying, praying, working hard, staying focused toward my goal to reach a lot of people and help them have a better life. And the good news for me is that I think I got what I want to do ready to put it in front of you. So just to put it in perspective, like I said a moment ago about the theme for today, personal finance and small business ownership, I said if you're looking to maybe start your own business, then this show's for you. I'm 65 years old. I've been a business consultant accountant since I was in my early 20s. And 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I went into Deerfield Correctional Center in Deerfield, Capron, Virginia, and I had a business class, starting your own business class for inmates, for returning citizens, 40 weeks in a row. I went every Tuesday, and when I'd get there, we'd be right in the middle of the pod. 120 men live in there, and I'm so welcome there. I just love being there. Got a lot of friends there, and then we take these two long folding tables and put them up and surround them with chairs. And I had six men were my regulars, and then over the course of the 40 weeks, I had about 23 or 4 others come through for anywhere between 1 or 2 sessions to 5 or 6 sessions. They would just sit in, and we'd have a nice round table conversation about how to start your own business. And so what I'm going to talk to you about now, and wherever we stop today, I'll pick back up in the next week or so, depending if I slip a guest in there or not. But I want to start talking to you about starting your own business, if that is something that you've thought about. Now, I like to give some sort of a glory to God each week here and put some scripture out there. So today, I just want to introduce the parallel today, and I'm not going to go deep into it at all, but it's from the book of Mark, chapter 4, just the very first verse all the way through the verse 20. It's the parable of the sower. It's about when the man planted the seeds, when the farmer was going to plant seeds. And there's basically four ways that they said that he planted seeds. He planted some seeds, he threw them out there, and they landed kind of on the path. Well, they didn't grow very good. They got scattered because they just had no place to really grow. Birds came up and ate them. And then the second place that the seeds fell was in some rocky places. And these rocky places, they grew real quick, but they didn't have any real good root system, and they weren't going to be there to last. And the soil was just too shallow. And then the third place was it got into some thickets, and there were weeds there. And when the seeds grew, they got all tangled up in all these weeds and things. It really kind of messy, and it stifled their growth. But then the last soil was the fertile soil, and it fell on the good soil, and it produced a crop, and it says it multiplied by 30, 60, and some 100 times. Well, let's talk about what that means in business as it relates to business. if you are thinking about going into your own business, you've got to be prepared. You have to do it the right way. Let me just stop just for a second. The whole thing that I'm teaching today, personal finance and small business ownership, is coming from a seminar that I did over 30 years ago, and it's in my workbook, and you can find it on the website, rightthink.org, RIGHTTHINK.org. So pretty much everything that I'm going to be presenting today, you can follow along and go to the website and go to one of the documents there, and it's specifically the same name, Personal Finance and Small Business Ownership. And so I'm going to be trying to direct you into that today, and this is kind of like the introduction. The reason that I chose to have this show today and not just some specific motivational piece or offer one tool to you is that in the last couple weeks, I've worked with several people that are clients of mine through redevelopment and housing, specifically Newport News Redevelopment and Housing Community in Virginia. And I've got three absolutely wonderful people that have come to me. They came to an open house to see if it was billed as anybody that wants to start your own business, come to this presentation by me. And I met them. And they want to go into an adult daycare where they have a business that they're very serious about, where they start their own adult daycare, because the elderly population, there's more of us out there. I'm going to be in that after a while myself. I guess I'm not that far off of it. But it's health care, caring for the elderly, the aged. It's a very, very huge part of our needs in our society. And so that's what they want to do. So last week I had a session with them, and I just love being with them because they are mature and they are serious and they're going to put in the hard work and the homework. So that's kind of why I brought them up for a minute. I'm going to teach you today, offer you some of the tools that I gave him, and I'm not going to go into my life story today and tell you where I got this and where I got that from. I just want to talk to you. If you are thinking about going into business, I want to give you what I hope you take is some sound advice, wisdom from years of experience. I had a conversation with a young man that contacted me. I have an intern for a couple years in my foundation, Right Thinking Foundation, named Akusha. She's a wonderful young lady. She's a PhD candidate at Old Dominion University in data engineering. And she has a person that she sent to me, and he's 26 years old, and he wants to start his own nonprofit and be able to help people that have been incarcerated find employment through creating their own company. His basic thought was they're having a really hard time getting jobs because the communities aren't receiving them very well, and so he's motivated to where he wants to start a foundation that really helps people that have been incarcerated be able to start their own business. And so I spoke with him last Thursday night, I think it was, and we had a long conversation. He had the time and I had the time, and I listened to him, and I have to tell you, I felt like I was listening to myself. This young man was so passionate about what he wants to do. He has such a heart for what he wants to do. I'm not going to tell you his story right now, and later on we'll maybe get a chance to do that. But he's got a personal reason for wanting to do this. But he had a premise that he presented to me